In this video, I have a saying about giving a rat's ass that's kind of funny. That how can you give a rat's ass? The ass of the rat isn't yours to give, so let the rat keep his ass. Or you can pick up a rat and hand him to somebody else ass first, and yes, you're giving a rat's ass. And if the other person wants to accept the rat ass first, to give a rat's ass, you're sort of offering up the rat's ass, and it's up to the other person if he wants to accept. So I'll have another saying too, that in some certain things, that if a rat's ass should really be offered or even given about a particular subject. So that's what I say about tolerance to a certain thing. You can say sometimes you give a shit. There's some and I also have a thing where I say there's certain aspects of giving a shit or giving a fuck. It's not that I don't give a shit or give a fuck. It's there's some aspects of giving a shit or giving a fuck that I don't give a shit or a fuck about. And at any given time, when and where should a rat's ass be given, or a fuck be given, or a shit be given, or even offered? You know what I mean? The public school system is for learning reading, writing, arithmetic, learning how to count, learn how to read, and reading comprehension. It is not, and never should be, a place to force any values on anybody, and they do not fucking own you. That's the bottom line. They're not an authority over you, even though you obey basic rules and disciplines, which are reasonable in a school or any public place. Like I said, do what is don't do anything against the law, but that doesn't mean you have owners. They're not your owners. Alright, what's up, yins guys? Time for another video. I'm gonna go and give you some more lecturing here about what I think should be done in the public schools as far as rules being imposed on kids and even parents. I tell my partner this all the time, and other people I know, but I need to get it out there in a video because I never got around to doing it. And it's some content that, once again, I make a video and talk about it. I gotta excuse my speech pattern here, because sometimes, you know, when you talk about this shit, I, for one, unlike other YouTubers that cover this shit, I can't make a video without almost busting out laughing. You know what I mean, too. So, anyway, I'll remind you here for one thing, too, like I always say in texts on that other wall on YouTube and other social media, that I'll say it for one thing and make it clear. I don't advocate anything, doing anything that's against the law. I don't really I can give a fraction of a shit. I couldn't give a flying rat's ass if somebody wants to identify as something else. You got to say that up front when you have beliefs too, so you can't be accused. Don't give a damn. It's their life. It's their business. Don't force it down anybody else's throat. The only thing I'm obligated to do is, or not do anyway, is like, don't do nothing that's against the law. You know, the only thing you're obligated to do is obey the law as far as don't commit aggravated assault or beat anybody up or threaten their life or because of what they identify as. That's all. And you're not obligated to take any time in your personal life to coddle anybody. And also, it also means, too, you should have the attitude of, oh, you don't have time to persecute any of them, but at the same time, you don't have any time to coddle them either. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, in doing so, this is directed to anybody who happens to see this video who is still a kid going to school or even going to college, or even as a parent who has kids in school. This is more directed to the public school even before college. You know why? Because any of them people trying to impose these extra classes or teachings. For yeah, nothing wrong with tolerance. I mean, I believe in basically tolerance is, like I said, don't beat up or hurt or threaten the life of anybody that identifies as something else, and don't do nothing against the law. That's a reasonable obligation, but you're not obligated or required to coddle, like I said too. And any teaching in a public school that's none of anybody's fucking business about sexuality, like it can be against somebody's religion or beliefs, or whether they're religious, it could be against your beliefs in a particular, in the family, or you don't have the right to listen to it. You know what? If they teach and force that down your throat and tell you what to think, even without saying so, even though they don't say, as a parent, your kids and you are property of the state, they're implying when they require you in public school to take on a belief and to give somebody special treatment or require anything beyond common sense, don't do anything that's against the law, they're actually implying and indicating that your kids are property of the state. And in some cases, you know, I'll make a sarcastic reference when people were trying to, remember in 2020, a school walkout, they wanted to, people wanted to organize a national school walkout in the name of anti-racism. I believe that if you, like I said, if you don't do nothing against the law, but if you don't want the gender teaching and transgender tolerance teachings taught to you, if you're a kid in school, hey, you and your friends in some ways have the right to walk out of the class or have a school walkout. Don't do anything that's against the law. Don't do anything physical with anybody. But what I would do, I would encourage this if I was back in school. Say they're teaching a particular thing. Keep raising your hand and say, excuse me. Ask a lot of questions. And if they want to go to your parents or go to the principal and accuse you of being a deliberate disruptance, hey, it's your right to ask questions, not there just sit there, oh, I better believe this because I'm told to. Then when they do shit like that, that means that your kids or you as a kid listen to this as your property of the school district, your property of the state. You have the right to ask questions. Or I would do this in school, get other people started. For example, if they're teaching something that you don't agree with a statement, what I would do is think about some kind of funny thing you saw on TV on Saturday Night Live, or a funny cartoon. You know, something like in a cartoon, I don't know, Wile E. Coyote or something that makes you laugh, so that you can get all your friends to do it. Agree on something. Each person has something that, when you think about it, makes them laugh. It could be something in a movie, so you bust out laughing. Do that. Yeah, they shouldn't be able to do a fucking thing to you about it. But like I said, and if you got this far in this video, different things, problems I had in school. There is also a thing, believe it or not. Okay, I don't believe in bullying or anything, or over ridiculing, or like a bunch of people ganging together verbally bullying anybody. And I'm saying this because you know how when we were younger, somebody was a nerd or a dork or whatever. I don't advocate bullying or pack mentality as far as verbally getting a bunch of people to make fun of people. Like, shit, when you get older, there's this workplace mobbing and passive aggression too. But I will tell you one thing, even though I'm against bullying, believe it or not, anybody who listens to this that don't like somebody that's a nerd, I will tell you one thing in this video, pay attention to this. Even though I'm against physical bullying or massive munches of verbal bullying and heckling, right? Believe it or not, I also believe that you do have a right to snub somebody if you don't like them because they're a nerd. I don't believe in being a bully, but I told my partner this, you know, because we talk about war. I don't want to speak for her, but we had our things in school. Everybody does, except if you were Mr. Superstar in school. If you're one of them people that happen upon this video that's not in school anymore or older my age, or you're somebody younger or even in college thinking them, believe it or not, if somebody is a nerd or not, and This is why I'd make a whole video on terms of inclusiveness. Why I don't really believe in inclusiveness per se. Yeah, if you're those people that, I don't advocate bullying, but if you don't like somebody that because they're a nerd or a dork or whatever, leaving gender teaching out of it, you don't have a right to bully anybody. But I think even the ones that don't like people that are nerds or dorks, like back in my day or our parents' day, they do have, if you're one of them watching this, you do have a right to snub whoever the fuck you want. Yep, that's right. You don't have the right to bully anybody, or, well, there's like massive heckling, like you get older in a workplace, right? You have some friends, there's these cliques that grown ass fucking people that do shit in workplaces, and you have to act right and not lose your job, or have certain kind of verbal comebacks, or even in some cases some malicious compliance to fuck some in a workplace. But so anyway, any kids happen upon this video, there's whole stuff that you can, without me making videos about it, that there's a thing about being oversensitive and letting bullies know it. Like says, there's certain things that maybe I can say I made mistakes back in school where giving the enemy or the bully what they want, they're doing something. I think everybody does something if they were being bullied, and unwittingly, when you think about it when you're older, it's a damn, you nailed your own coffin, or giving the enemy what you want. Even grown ass people in workplaces sometimes do stuff and they don't think about it, and giving stop it. Yeah, I mean, it's best to stop and think. Don't give anybody what they want, you know what I mean, too. But I believe that the person, the would-be bullies, the would-be verbal bullies, if they don't like nerds, is wrong as it may seem. If they want to snub somebody because they're a nerd or whatever, that is their right. But yes, it is. It's their absolute right. You want to snub somebody, you don't like somebody because they're a nerd or because of this or that, you can snub them all you want. That's why I don't believe in, okay, if you got this far in this video, what I'm saying is I'm not against inclusiveness per se, but I do not believe in or give a rat's ass about forced inclusiveness. I mean, I don't think institutional style or government style forced inclusiveness or forcing a type of inclusiveness is the answer to anything. I mean, even whether if you're older or not in school. Excuse me, neighbors across the street, they're doing a project over there. Saws going in the background. That is what it is. Running a saw in the background. And anyway, yeah. There's a thing where a person doesn't like somebody. I don't want to be repetitive. Yeah, even out there in the world, if whether your kid or a parent listen to this, or if you're in some workplace and you're older, hey, even if somebody out there is an asshole, right, or that, even you don't have a right to be a bully, but yet you have a right, everybody has a right to snub whoever the fuck they want, right? But they just don't have the right to physically assault, bully, or harass, or do anything that's against the law. Oh, and also too, like I say about whether it's things racial, and I, for one, if you got this far in this video, I remind people that my motto also as far as races is, yeah, somebody says, oh, you hate black people or whatever, ask you that. I said, no, being a racist or an Aryan Nations type racist or Ku Klux Klan racist is no fun. Why do that? That's no fun when it's actually more fun to, somebody running this. Anyway, it's more fun to subscribe to YouTubers and share black YouTubers that they don't like. Yeah, if you ask me if I'm some kind of racist or whatever, I'll tell you up front, subscribing to and sharing black YouTubers that you don't like is way more fun than being racist. I mean, if you want to be in a Aryan Nations or Ku Klux Klan style racist, if anybody bees like that, they're missing out on the fun of sharing black YouTubers that the left doesn't like. But as far as the gender and transgender tolerance teaching, and once again, excuse the electric saw in the background, that is what it is, but yeah, like I said too, no school has the right to force a belief down your throat. I mean, if somebody happens to be a transgender, that's the other, even if the person is being hateful, they have the right to snub them. And but you also have the right to snub certain teachings. The only teachings that anybody needs in school, if somebody identifies as another gender or they're gay, don't bully them. Don't do no aggravated assault. Don't do nothing that's against the law. But anything that's teaching that you got to give them special treatment or take any time in your personal life or agree to repeat a particular belief or be punished somehow, that's outright bullshit. You know what I mean? And I would say to any kid in school, teenager in school, and I even say that outside of here, yeah, if you're being taught that, if it's being taught in the school and nobody's fighting in court yet, by all means, don't do anything that's against the law to disrupt or in the school. But you have a right. Maybe think about Wile E. Coyote and cartoons, so that you can bust out laughing when at the key moment when something's being said, or you have a right to raise your hand and say, "Oh, excuse me, what if this or that?" I said, yeah, it's not about, like I said, you are only required to not do stuff that's against the law, which is common sense. You're not required to coddle any damn buddy, and nobody has the right to force you or your kids to through the public school. Nobody has the right to use the public school to force your kids this particular belief. Because if they do, and if they forbid any kids from asking any questions or questioning it, or then that's indicating that your kids are property of the school district and property of the state. Like, if they have no right to use any kind of school policies to punish or harass kids that don't subscribe to this shit, or parents. And then if the parents are able, put them in a different school or homeschool them or whatever. But if just because somebody's a protected group does not give anybody right to force an idealism or a value on anybody. And like I said, even as in certain cases, like it might be wrong, even as rude or wrong as it may appear, people have the right to snub other people. Hey, there's no law against that or whatever. And that's why I don't care. I don't give a rat's ass. Hey, I had different cliques that didn't like me in school either. But if I was in school, I particularly wouldn't want anybody forced to coddle me. You know what I mean? That's just one example. But anybody, okay, end of this video, did anybody, whether they identify as another gender or say they are a nerd or something, any particular group that maybe is being bullied, if they encourage or delight in being coddled and cater to laws and glorify laws that force other people or other kids to coddle them and do anything other than don't bully, then they're narcissists. Like anybody that's like I said, you have the right to snub a nerd, but any nerd that goes too far, for my opinion, and has any love for those kind of laws, like forcing other people to coddle them, that's being a narcissist and getting and like I say, if you are a nerd, if there's, yeah, you get the idea what I'm saying. I don't have to keep on saying that, whatever. But so there's on a couple of different sides a thing to consider on both sides in that matter. But yeah, I will. But ending this video, summing it up, whether you're a kid or a parent going to school, School is there to teach you basically the reading, learn how to read and learn how to count, and learn how to comprehend reading and shit, so you may be able to get a job somebody. They are not an indoctrination center, and they are not there to force any particular value on anybody. School is not for that. It never was, and it never will be, and it never should be. And that's it.